If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live here on Memorial Day. Downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Busy program lined up today. Good guests on the program. Anthony Curtis, Mr. Las Vegas advisor in studio. In an hour from right now, Dennis Bernstein on the NHL. Brackets are out for the College World Series. Aaron Moore will join the program. Plus, we have tons of day baseball, the NBA to get into as well. Win some, lose some coming up. A big injury in the WNBA, Paulie. And we'll begin because we do have some drama in the Eastern Conference of the NBA and the finals there of that conference after last night's improbable and surprising come-from-behind win by the New York Knicks. They were dead and buried the way it looked at halftime and maybe even a little bit beyond that before they started to mount their comeback. And because of that now, they trailed 2-1 against Indiana. But think good in terms of, again, overall drama and entertainment and getting, this series extended. And for those of you who bet over 5.5 games or you took like some various derivatives with those series numbers, you had to have that last night from the Knicks, and somehow, some way, they delivered. Good for them.
It was all about Cat, though. I mean, how about that? The guy's benched in Game 2. He's got 4 points going in the fourth quarter, and then he takes over. And again, it's bizarre. How are they going to play moving forward in the rest of the series? Their 2 best quarters have been when Brunson's been on the bench.
How do you figure that?
I know. So he's in foul trouble again. I think it's a lot about let guys cook and let other guys get involved. Although Brunson's a great player. But certainly they let him back in the series. They let him off the mat. That's over. You're going up 3-0. You're up 20. You can't give that away. The comeback is you didn't play well. You only scored 100 points, but still you're up 20 in that game. But it was all about Cat in the fourth quarter and Thibodeau tinkering with the lineup and benching Hart and bench Cat in Game 2 and putting Landry Shamet out there and putting Payne on the bench. And finally something stuck and worked in the fourth quarter. They're able to save their season and finally win a playoff game in Indiana.
You can bring Hart off the bench if you want, but I need that dude on the court 40 minutes a game. I just, it's a pun, but I love the last name. That's what he plays with. And the hustle and the passion that he delivers every single night, he was awesome in the game last night down the stretch. Had to have that. And I would say this, at DraftKings, you can bet on the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Halliburton, because they're up 2-1, is the favorite. He's the short shot at -130. Brunson's plus 225-ish. Karl Anthony Towns is 20-1. Maybe you can find higher than that. I know what you're saying about Game 2, but if you go back to Game 1 and how awesome he was there, the fact that their 2 best quarters, as you just said, was when Brunson was on the bench, and they don't win that game last night without Karl Anthony Towns, 20-1 on him? What?
Not bad.
That absolutely would be, if you think the Knicks can come back and win the series, like I don't have a vote, but if I did, I would tell you right now that if the Knicks win, I would, as of this second, Karl Anthony Towns would absolutely be on my ballot ahead of Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. Little Skinner thing going on. How much do you hold third period of Game 1 against him? How much will they hold Game 2 against him that he was benched and did nothing? But
I think what happened last night has to supersede all of that in Game 1.
I agree. It's been a strange series. And also we lost some bets on Game 2 as they were outplayed and Toppin plus-minus was atrocious, and Turner got the minutes, and then Siakam was the hero.
That killed me
and
in
then
that game.
And then last night Toppin goes over points and rebounds, and they're like plus 16. I think he was on the floor, but they weren't good minutes out of Turner. So I think Indiana responds and gets the win at home in Game 4. But certainly this series should be over, and they gave the Knicks some life and some hope now.
So you like the updated series price, huh? That has moved.
Yeah, there was some $2 out there.
Yeah, now $2.30 or heavier, yeah.
So what? If Indiana wins, the Knicks are still laying 5.5 at home in Game 5? That can't be.
I don't think that. Yeah, that number would be.
And Indiana's won 6 in a row on the road in the playoffs. So that's another one, too. And it's home court hasn't mattered with these two teams, which is the other bizarre thing.
I do think the way the series is played out, the Pacers probably up 2-1 feels about right to me.
Yes.
Right, because they should not
Each
have
team
won
gave
game
away a
one.
game, yes.
And then last night they had the Knicks dead. They just couldn't hit shots, and they were kind of bad last night in that game overall. So I think 2-1 feels pretty accurate to me. But how do you like what they're laying at home compared to what the Knicks are laying at home when they play?
Yeah, I don't understand this. Why is it only 2? Why is it only 2.5 tomorrow?
Sure.
You know they're going to respond. And the same thing just played out in the last series. They won the first 2 games in Cleveland. They were blown out in Game 3 at home, and then responded and blew them out in Game 4.
Yep.
Big dogs in Game 5 won that game. Maybe Pacers in 5 happens here again, and the same thing plays out. They respond. You get a stronger game. To me, they can't play any worse. But you get a better performance by Indiana. They can close them out in the Garden in Game 5.
Yeah, well, you got to be feeling pretty good. Now, you locked up a profit, but you gave out in pocket weeks ago. When was that, by the way? Is that when they were playing the Bucks in the first round?
It was the first round. It was the first round, and a big reason why was Cleveland's lack of defense in the first 2 home games against Miami.
Yeah, and you had
Right.
you bet the Pacers and explained why you thought at 19-1 to win the East was a good bet. So you did come back and take a little bit on the Knicks to guarantee yourself a profit here, but to cash at 19-1, you and others who tailed got to be feeling pretty good, even though the Pacers blew the game last night and did not come away with a 3-0 series lead.
Yeah. I didn't even look in play either. I thought it was over.
No, I
Shame
did.
on me.
I did because, and I tweeted this out, Same book got me twice this weekend. Same book. Now I've learned my lesson. It's just a total travesty. And what happened last night is I saw the Knicks were coming back. I needed to see some life in that team before I got down on them at halftime to come back and win the game.
I do agree that was big that they cut it to 13.
Yeah,
Then you run
okay.
there a little bit, right?
Sure.
Okay.
And so it's a 3-point game. They're 2-1 to win the game. I'm like, okay, I'll try to fire on the Knicks at this point. Tried to fire, and the same thing at the same book happened to me in the game on a player prop in the Wolves game on Thursday night when I waited on a prop for Anthony Edwards. Tried to bet it, no, rejected, can't take it, number moved, yada, yada, yada. Same thing had happened last night. Okay, I'll finally fire on the Knicks at 2-1. Spins, rejects, offer me a different number, doesn't take my bet, and I basically give him the middle finger. And now God, is that just, what are we doing here? What kind of racket are we in 2025? Come on, if you're going to offer it live during the entire game and you put a bet in, take the bet, have the technology so the bet goes in.
No, that should be illegal. I'm with you. That's unacceptable, no doubt.
But I got to be honest. So you like the Pacers to bounce back in Game 4?
Yes. But this is intriguing, though, about Tibbs is trying everything. Mm-hmm. And even Barkley and Kenny are like, this guy, his rotations are so weird.
I know.
And he just throws guys, this doesn't work, you're on the bench. I'll try this guy. How about that? And then he only ran with the starters for much of the regular season. But starters on the floor, Game 1, Knicks outscored by 13. Game 2, Knicks outscored by 16. Indiana, 61% from the floor, 52% from 3 when the Knicks starters were on the floor.
Wow.
155 points per 100 possessions, which I don't have to tell you would be far and away a record. So there were some adjustments made in Game 3, but moving forward, you can't get away from this. This is the entire playoffs, that when the starters are on the floor, they get outscored.
Amazing.
And then still, right, it is stunning that their 2 best quarters of the series, Brunson's been on the bench. I don't know.
Well,
it's so weird.
The whole thing about the parity in the NBA, and we are going to have a 7th champion in 7 years for the first time in the history of the league this year. I mean, it just ends the way that game happened. That's the 3rd time now the Knicks came back from a 20-point deficit in the playoffs to win. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Come on. And the way what the Pacers have done as well, which has actually been more improbable late in those games, 3 different times to come back and win. To me, it's been like the most unpredictable in-game stuff that I can ever remember in the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, you like the Pacers? I have no idea what the hell's going to happen in Game 4. No clue. But again, going back to what these teams are laying at home, I don't get the difference in the power rating.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pacers are the better team. Mm-hmm. They've shown that based on how they blitzed through the number 1 team, and certainly the Knicks won, but 3 were epic comebacks against Boston, and then the best players out of Game 6. I mean, it's the same thing with OKC, where how does that happen in Game 3? Where you could just kept betting Minnesota in play and you had nothing to worry about.
Well, pretty much every number of the game cash that you would have been betting.
Yeah.
All right, so there's some intrigue there. What do you make of what happened yesterday afternoon in the NHL with the Oilers taking a 2-1 lead over Dallas, and they were sensational in that game?
Yeah, they got outshot, but they're playing great defense. Skinner was solid again. The big fluke appears to be the 3rd period of Game 1. or this thing would
Agreed.
be over, right? Power play, power play, power play. Edmonton just stays out of the box. They'll be okay. Be disciplined. Don't make mistakes. And what they're doing offensively now, with all these guys chipping in, it's the same thing as Jonathan Davis wrote today. You got 18 different players that have scored, and you have 21 guys with a point for Florida and 19 with Edmonton. So there's so many guys that can beat you, and now you're seeing that some spots it's McDavid, other spots it's Bob for favorite to win the Conn Smythe. Mm-hmm. But Edmonton's first things first, they got to get this one tomorrow, but hopefully we get a rematch, and then I don't know what's going to happen if that's the Stanley Cup final. And I do know I don't expect anything out of Carolina tonight.
Well,
I know it's hockey, but come on. It's 16-4 in the series. Yep. You tried the goalie change. That didn't work. You can't get anything going offensively. They're scoring 5 goals a game on you.
It's a total mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the JV versus the varsity here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a surprising result. Not that Florida's up 3-0, but we are talking about total domination here.
6-2, 5-2, 5-0, I know.
Blitzkriegs, man.
Yes.
And
yes.
I do think at this point, I mean, if we get Edmonton and those are the two best teams in a rematch from last year. Can Skinner pull this off? Is that 300-1 ticket live at all? He's down to 60.
He's down to 60. I saw that. Down to 60, yeah. You got to keep giving up 1 or 2 goals, yeah. And can he outplay Bob in the final? Absolutely. Wow. The other thing is maybe Toronto was one of the best teams. They had these guys down 2-0, and then Stolarz got hurt.
I know.
And they
blew game 3.
And they did. And they went to Florida and won Game 6 and shut them out.
That's right.
Maybe Toronto was one of the best teams. They just, the injury was too much. Smarter bets start here with VSiN Pro. Now's the time to jump in. 14 months, $199. 2 extra months for free when you use promo code PRO. Less than 50 cents a day. The daily email from Bill 80. Every pick, every host, every guest. The Mackinnon bullpen breakdowns and trends. And the upcoming NFL betting guide, which drops in a few months. Limited time offer. Ends the end of May. Don't miss out. VSiN.com/subscribe. Promo code PRO.
More on the card coming up next, including bullpens to pay attention to on this Memorial Day and pitchers going through the order for a second or the third time. Numbers next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live on Memorial Day Monday. Hope everybody is having a terrific and safe and in this world, lucrative betting weekend as well. Busy hour coming up. Dennis Bernstein on the program talking NHL in 30 minutes. Do you concur in 45? And here, Mr. Las Vegas advisor Anthony Curtis joins us in studio, LasVegasAdvisor.com. Good to see you again, AC. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a holiday, right?
You got it?
I'm kicking back. I'm hanging with you guys.
So we're going to promote your new book called Advantage Players coming up.
Brand new.
And I asked you about this off the air. I'm like, level of excitement for this book compared to other previous books that you've worked on. You're like very, very high.
Yeah.
That's coming up. I wanted to ask you about, though, the level of interest that you heard about right away after last Thursday. Last Thursday is the day that Derek Stevens, Mike Palm, Jeff Benson from here at Circa came on and announced their football contest plans for this season, one of which was a brand new $100,000 contest called Grandissimo, and it's a survivor entry. You have played with Frank B., who's one of the best ever to do this in contests and a pro sports bettor, so you know him, you know a bunch of people who run it like in these circles, right? What was the reaction that you heard from other, people who are really, really sharp in this industry?
Well, I mean, people weren't jumping out of their shoes or anything, but it was like, wow, there they go again. $21 million. Is that what it is? $21.5 million or something they're guaranteed totally. It's interesting, this $100,000 one. I don't know what level of participation from my group that you're going to have in that, but I think you're going to see a lot of people pooling money. I think you're going to see a lot of people getting together. You're going to see like some super teams. Getting together going, okay, I'm 10, I'm 5, I'm 2, I'm 1, that kind of thing. with a lot of, the number of, I think they're going to make the 15, that they need for it not to be an overlay. I said between 20 and 25. Another friend of mine thinks 40. I'll take the under on 40.
Ooh.
Wow. But it's gonna be exciting, and I think everyone is as excited about the normal Survivor with the higher the higher guarantee on that one now up to $15 million.
Yeah.
Derek is he's a wild man. He's just a wild man, and he's got a death grip on football contests, and he ain't gonna let go.
How big of a factor will ego be, or the showing off factor, you think?
Not as much as you would think.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, because it's going to be, showing off to say I entered it. Yes. Yes, that'll be a big deal. Yeah, I got $100K to blow. I made it on our podcast, on the LVA podcast. I said, well, I'm not sure about the second, because you can do twice. I'm not sure about if I'll do the second one. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna put 100,000 up. But some people that will be the big deal. To win it, not that big a deal, because what are you going to beat? 20 people. You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot more cachet to win the normal one and destroy 15,000 people.
Well, I asked Paulie the next day, I said more, quote, sharp money in this big contest or FU/ego money involved?
Ooh, that's a great question, man. And I'll bet you it's relatively close. But like I say, if you take these composite groups, if you take all the guys that are going to be playing together on one, there's going to be some real good teams in there, and then there's going to be a couple of guys just like the World Series of Poker,
right?
Or those big giant, one drop for whatever that thing was called.
That's
where
right.
They've got all these guys coming in, throwing 100,000, $250,000 because they can, and they're not necessarily the greatest poker players in the world. And that's why there's not that much cachet to win those.
I think a guy like Charles Barkley would be perfect for this contest.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That makes all the sense in the world for him to sign up.
Well, it'd be smart for him to do it and then hire somebody to help him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because no offense to him, but his picking don't seem to be so good.
How would you like to book his action?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, so if you think it's going to be, a bunch of people getting in, here's 10K, here's 15, whatever it is, and let's say 8 people are in one entry together, who's going to have the say? Is that going to have to be agreed? It's going to have to be agreed upon before all the money gets split up.
Yeah, it'll be a roundtable thing. They'll put together a weekly call. They'll all get on it, and it's amazing. There's a lot of those things going on right now. They used to call it the Tuesday group. Mm-hmm. Everybody would get together on Tuesdays and talk to one another and give their ideas, and then they'd go their own way. But there was not a lot of arguing there. There was some both sides. I don't know, whatever. They get along. These guys, it's all about money. They get along. There was the Wall Street Journal ran a story not long ago about a guy who cornered the Texas lottery. And I happen to know this guy. His name's Jelko out of Australia.
No way.
Yeah. And
I saw this article.
Yeah. She asked if he was cheating. I said, he doesn't need to cheat. I go, he understands the EV. He understood the overlay, and he looked at the rules. He played by the rules. And I said, he didn't cheat, and that's what he's all about. He's about EV. And that's what these guys are about in the football contest.
Did they pay him? They were calling him a cheater.
They paid him, but now they're trying to get the money back, just like they did with Ivy. Right? Same thing. Now they did pay him. Now they're trying to indict him and get the money back.
Well, explain what the guy did and how much money he won.
Well, they put in, they didn't play all the numbers because they said, well, he played every number. And that's cheating. Why is that cheating? It's not cheating.
No.
If you can do that, there's nothing that says you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't play all the numbers. They didn't play the numbers that most people will play, like birthdays, 7, these kinds of things. But they played maybe 95% of those numbers. And they put in $38 million, and they won $93 million. My man.
They put in $38 million across the board in that
They got
group.
it in, and that's what they're all mad about. They're trying to hook them up on something almost like messenger betting. They call it courier betting, which supposedly they're not supposed to do, but there was no law against it in Texas. Now they're trying to put something against it.
You are the man, AC, no doubt. So you just mentioned...
No, I didn't do it.
You just mentioned Ivy, and this is in the book, Advantage Players, a new book, Michael Kaplan. And go to Las Vegas Advisor, by the way, and get all the books that are up there. But this is one that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's selling big on Amazon right now.
I bet.
Beautiful.
And we haven't even started the PR on this. You guys are one of the first ones that I'm actually showing it and actually brought it in.
The Ivy thing is absurd. He negotiates with the casinos. I want a dealer to speak, I think it was Mandarin.
Mandarin.
I want these type of cards. this, and they go, okay, sure, no problem. And then he wins, and they don't pay him.
Yeah, that whole story is in here. That's one of them where he dealt with Kelly Sun. Kelly was the girl who could read the back of the card, something they call edge sorting, or they used to call playing the turn a long time ago. Blackjack players used to call it. And these were miscut cards, and they were able to have them arranged. So when the key cards, the 9 and the 8, come out, they'd have them turn them a certain way, and they'd go back in the shoe, and they would see it before it came out of the show, and know they're going to start with a 9 or an 8, which is a huge edge. And they were betting. They beat them for millions, over 10 million, got paid, and then it went to the courts, and they made them give the money back. But they called the girl the Baccarat Machine.
Yeah.
And there's actually a movie in development right now called The Baccarat Machine with Awkwafina playing her
You're
part.
kidding.
No, it's true.
Oh, that's a home run.
I love that.
Yeah, there's a picture
She'll
of
kill that part too, by the way.
The story's incredible.
Yeah,
her dad was worth a ton of money, and then I think she was accused of something, and they threw her in jail, and she was in jail for like 2 weeks, and no one could get a hold of the family, and she goes, I'm going to get you back.
Yeah, she
and then
got mad.
Yeah.
And she figured it out. And she worked with another guy who's also in the book, a guy named Eddie Teams. It's the first story. I think it's called From the Car Lot to the Blackjack Table to the Kingdom or something. I forget what it's called.
Oh, gosh.
But I mean, they all kind of crossed. And there's a good photo in the book of Ivy, Kelly Sun, and Awkwafina all together.
Oh, very cool.
It's cool, yeah.
By the way, how the hell do you spread out $38 million across like Texas? You go to one gas station? All right, we got the duffel bag. Here we go.
They went to a whole bunch of different places and they actually had them. Now, this story is not in the book, but you can look it up in the Wall Street Journal. And they had them bring in the lottery machines into like one room, and they did it in 3 or 4 different places, and they brought the lottery machines in. They just kept feeding them through the machines. They paid these guys to feed them, and they were computer generating these combinations and numbers, that sort of thing. Oh, it's fabulous what these people do, and that story is not in there, but stories just like that are in this book. Because it just happened, so we didn't get it.
Right, it's not just sports betting, obviously.
Yeah. No.
It's like from all walks of life or walks of life that you would never consider. That's an advantage player? Really? Okay, that makes sense to me.
Well, we've got a bunch of things in there called sneak attacks. And the sneak attacks aren't whole chapters. They're like 2 or 3 pages sort of things. And one of them is Ernie Moody, who made Triple Play Video Poker and Ultimate X. He's the guy who developed all of those. Another one is the Ramones. Because the Ramones, as a band, did something that was AP-like in order to rise through the punk leagues. Another one's about a guy who cuts locks. And I don't mean L-O-C-K-S, I mean L-O-X. L-O-X, he cuts fish. And now he's like at the top of Sardell's. So there's all these different things, 2 or 3 stories about the sex industry. One called The Phone Freaks, these blind guys in Israel who hacked into phones because they could hear the dial tones. It's unbelievable, man. Yeah, some good ones.
What's the one about art?
Art Brut, it's called, and it's the guy who basically there's one about art, there's one about the movie industry, about these guys, they were disruptors. They came out of nowhere, and they turned those industries around by using disruptive AP techniques. So that's the theme that goes through the whole book. Michael Kaplan did an unbelievable job. He's a writer for Cigar Aficionado, the New York Post, Esquire, Men's Health, all these different things. Did a great job. We brought them all together, but it's not a column compilation. We kept the whole idea running through it.
And people can get the book where? Go ahead.
Well, LasVegasAdvisor.com, of course. Amazon, it's selling big on Amazon right now. Hopefully it'll be in bookstores soon, but nobody goes to bookstores anymore, so I don't really care that much.
Yeah. My wife used to have a friend, this is no joke, who when you would hit the number on a cell phone when you're calling somebody and it would beep or whatever, the tone would be different. She got to the point where she knew exactly what numbers you were dialing in, and she would be able to do that to get into people's phones. Yeah,
well, these guys were excellent because they were blind. So that sense was heightened. But not only that, I mean, they were fabulous computer hackers. Think back to when the MGM was I made this point. This book was just coming out when I was on 60 Minutes for a minute, when the MGM got hacked. And what did make it through onto air, as they said, how did they do it? And I said they were better at hacking than MGM was at defending a hack. And that's what these guys were all about and the things that they did. That's what the advantage player is. He's better than the casino, and that's what it turns out.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll continue with Mr. Las Vegas advisor Anthony Curtis. Again, the book is available at the website, LasVegasAdvisor.com. More with AC next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue here with Las Vegas advisor himself, Anthony Curtis, in studio. New book is called Advantage Players. So the World Series of Poker is starting up as well. Survivor has Survivor has kind of overtaken that, has it not? I mean, they're going to get more than, I think they're going to get 20,000 people in it this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at that, but I mean, you're talking about the main event. I mean, for all of the events, no. I mean, there are so many more players in the World Series of Poker altogether because it runs for a month and a half. But if you're talking about the main event, yeah, the number of entries to Survivor, but Survivor's only,
1,000 compared to
1,000,
10. Yeah.
But it can be up to 10,000, so you can get 10. But you certainly didn't get that many people buying. So World Series of Poker is still king.
What do you make of the Westgates contest, by the way? They're going to do a college football contest this year, and now they have a $5,000 Survivor contest. Yeah. How do you think that's going to do?
I think they're just going to have a hard time getting back to where they want to get. I mean, they were the big dogs, and they got knocked off the pedestal, and they're doing, instead of just standing pat, they know they're never going to catch up the way they're doing it. So they made some interesting and good changes, and I think it will be good for them. And as as long as the word gets out in the promo and everything else, people are going to keep. There's going to be more every year. I think they made good moves.
A prominent person in town called me in December once and had an idea about, hey, let's do this, and you do the same thing as well. And you just talked to Vegas Matt. People, for whatever reason, can't get enough of jackpots or people playing and seeing what a big jackpot. The views are incredible. Well, I can send them in to you, or I can watch something on YouTube, on Instagram. Can you tell us about what you have going on your YouTube stream and also who you just talked to?
Yeah, well, first of all, we had, we have the Las Vegas Advisor YouTube show once a week, and it runs at different times during the week, except Beer Friday. We do Beer Friday on the third Friday of every week, and we drink beer while we're doing it, and we get drunk. We get drunk and talk gambling, and it's kind of fun. But the other times we do different formats, and one of them we call it Jackpot Show. And the reason we did this is we had Vegas Matt. If you guys have heard of Vegas Matt, he's the top influencer. You've heard of, these others that are all around, Raja and a big jackpot, and Brian Christopher and all these different people. Well, Vegas Matt has gone past all of them. We had him on our show. So typically we get anywhere from 7,000 to maybe 18,000 views. We had Vegas Matt on. We got 140,000 views. It's just absolutely nuts how popular these people are.
He gets 1 million views on every Instagram
when he
post.
does, he works like a dog. I'm telling you, they put up a show every day, and they go out and play like crazy. And they play their money, they lose money, but they make. He said he lost $360,000 last year playing these big jackpots.
Oh my, wow!
But he made it up in who knows how many times off of all his platform money, merchandise, and things like that. So I don't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't get it. But we did start something called the Jackpot Show on our Las Vegas Advisor, where we tell people, send us your jackpots. So every week, once a month, we show 10 to 15 jackpots from the people. We name them if they want to be named. And then there's usually a lesson. Like, here's how this game is played. Here's why it was good that you did this. This video poker, this schedule wasn't that good, but you still hit. You cannot believe the incredible jackpots that people send in. And they're real. You can see them. Sometimes they're on film, and sometimes they're just a picture. But they're hitting them in sequence. They're hitting them on the draw. They're hitting it's like, how do these jackpots happen? So many of them. It's just incredible to see. But it's a good show if people want to tune in.
By the way, Vegas Matt, definition of advantage player, right? Good for him to figure this out. I mean, he's taken off like wildfire, and it's an awesome idea.
He's in the book. We held up the book for 1 month because after Matt was on our show, I asked him, I said, will you sit for an interview and we'll put a chapter in about you? And he did.
Oh, wow.
And we've got a new chapter. It's called The Man Who Wins by Losing.
Great job.
That's a great title.
Good job.
By the way, so Paulie showed this jackpot last week. Somebody sent it in. They held a deuce. Were they playing triple-double?
Yes.
Playing triple-double, held the deuce, that's it. Bam, it popped.
We get them like that all the time. And it's you know what's great about it? First of all, it's fun. All these people are going, this is going to be boring. I was going, no, it's not. I don't think it's going to be boring. And now they're all going, I really like this. I like to see this, right? But what's really cool is when you put the people in there and you give them their name, like maybe we'll just go Paulie H, right? Or something like that. We won't say your whole name so people don't, whatever. Mitch M, that sort of thing.
Right.
But then we hear from them, and they're like, oh, my God, thank you. Oh, my God. You put my mother's jackpot up. She's been coming to Vegas for 10 years from Hawaii, and, So it's a good show. I like it. Steve
Sear did that in his book, Whale Hunt in the Desert. He would only call people, he would never call them by their last name.
Oh, yes.
It was only first name and then last initial. That was it.
Oh, yeah. You're Mr. M. I mean, that's it. You're Mr. H.
Well
you're never going to be anything else with him.
You've been here a long time, and I don't know how it was, 10 years old, whatever it is. EDC coming to town now every single year.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? I got a hold of a bill of the last one. So let's walk we got $277,000. So there you got the autograph. There's the service charge, 20%. Then you got an admin fee for 9%. Then the tax, $35,000. So it was, yeah. So you see, you got Ace of Spades, $100,000. I love the bucket of Red Bull. What is it, $75 for just a bucket? Look at the water again. What they get you for the water? But there's your big boy, with the taxes included. 323, does it say, Mitch?
Yeah, at the very almost 324,000.
You got the auto grant, you got the 9%, you got the other taxes.
So after taxes and fees, it's basically $100,000 more than the actual subtotal.
Right.
A little bit shy of that. About what is it, 92,000?
This is hard to get your head around. I mean, are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yes.
I mean,
look on your face.
Vital Vegas tweeted out the menu. Or what the stuff is. It was a bottle of a 6-pack of Bud Light is like
$140.
$140.
What idiot would do that?
Well, they get 180,000 people every night.
What idiots would do that? Wow. I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of stuff, but
is that the tops?
I've never quite seen anything like that. I mean, I've seen some checks from the big clubs. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, okay, so again, the tax is $25,000, like Paulie talked about. Okay, then you get the administration fee for 9%. That gives you the $277,000 total. But then hold on a second, there's the automatic gratuity for 20% that comes in over the top. Then
I want to go work there.
Yeah, no kidding. You don't have to do anything.
That's better than selling books.
Yeah, I'll give you another advantage player.
Whack up 46,000.
The first year it ever came here, there was a guy I heard about who was playing blackjack early in the morning on the strip, and he just was absolutely loaded with cash. He was one of the first guys to get in there at EDC and sell water, and he just made a mint. And I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but that was like when it came here 15 years ago. I cornered it at the time. Can you imagine just what do you do for a living? I thought about selling water at EDC for 5 days out of the year, and I make $3 million, whatever
That's
it would be.
Man. That's it. The ultimate side hustle. Holy mackerel! Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
You. Send that to me. I got to put that in the newsletter. That's amazing.
All right. How prevalent is 000 roulette?
000 roulette. I remember when 000 roulette first showed up at the Venetian, right? And it was it was like 0, 00, and Sands, right? So that worked as a third zero, and we're like, no, who would ever do this? Now it's everywhere. You go into a place, there could be a 00 here and a 000 here, and there's 4 players here and 4 players here, and the same minimums and maximums. It's just crazy. So I'm driving the other day, and I see an ad by Tuscany, and it says, "We deal 00 roulette." Like, that's a big deal. Like, that used to be like the big square game for 5.26% casino edge. Now they're bragging on it that they don't deal the 7.69% game on 000. You know, it used to be we have single 0, you know, and there's actually a few of those around.
I was going to say, does anybody even still have single 0?
Yeah, I mean, at risk of alienating your sponsor here, right across the street at the Plaza, they do single 0 for only $15, where other single zeros around Vegas are like usually $25 and $50 minimums. So you can find them in some of the high limit rooms and stuff, but not often. But there's so much, it's becoming so prevalent, the 000, that Tuscany actually took out a billboard to say we have 00. I was shocked. I was shocked again, not as shocked as I was to see that EDC thing.
Thanks for coming in on a holiday. Promote the site, promote the coupon book, and this great book here with Advantage Players with Michael Kaplan. Take it away. Where can we get everything?
Go to LasVegasAdvisor.com. I mean, if you want to get in on our member rewards book, totally cool for $50, or just buy this book at Amazon.
Very good. Those are the spots. Okay. Yep. We're down to 11 buffets in Las Vegas?
Down to 11.
Who closed?
Luxor closed, and Westgate just closed.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Out of nowhere, the Westgate, nobody saw that one coming. So we're down to 11. Almost all of them are like the high-end ones, like Bellagio. The most expensive of all is Bacchanal at Caesar's Palace. You know, those kind of things. The only real bargain ones, South Point, you know, they're reasonably priced. Palms, I think, is the best. Our coupon book, we got a BOGO for Palms, 2 for 1. So you can get that lobster buffet, $80 lobster buffet for $40.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I mean, when you use that coupon for us, that's another one that works.
Quickly here, in like 20 seconds, do you remember like peak prime Vegas for buffets? How many do we have across the
40
city?
40-something.
40 plus?
Yeah, there were 40-some buffets here. We're down to 11. Few places around the country, Atlantic City just put one in the Golden Nugget. A few places are starting to bring them back. We'll see. We'll see.
Very good. LasVegasAdvisor.com is the website. Awesome appearance as always. Thank you. Good luck with the book. Can't wait to read it. Advantage Players is the name.
Well, thank you.
There you go. Anthony Curtis with us here on a Monday. Dennis Bernstein on the program coming up next. Talk some NHL. Does Skinner actually have any shot to win the Conn Smythe?
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We're live downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. Busy hour coming up. 15 minutes from now, we'll get into Game 4, NBA tonight, Oklahoma City and Minnesota. Bottom of the hour, Major League Baseball. Games that are going on, games that we have coming up tonight. Here, the bracket was released today for the College World Series, college baseball anyway, and Aaron Moore, VSiN contributor, joins the program now, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. He has a couple of stories up right now on the website, vsin.com, players to watch, and also just betting angles here. And Aaron, good to talk to you today. We'll start with this. What did you like and what did you dislike, I guess, when you saw the bracket earlier today?
So, Mitch, I would say the main thing I liked, and we look at it from a betting perspective, is the dominance of the SEC. Those teams belonged in there. There are 13 SEC teams total. There are 8 regional hosts. If you look at this number one conference that separates itself from the rest of the pack, it's good to see all those SEC teams in there. I like that very much. At the back end of it, what I dislike if we look at this field of 64 is it is one of the common arguments we have every year when we have these type of selections. The little guy is getting bypassed. And if you look at the field of 64, Troy should have been in there. Xavier should have been in there. Southeast Louisiana State. So those schools that maybe could have done something as 3 seeds, they don't get in. So you got to take the good with the bad. You get a lot of great teams. As I write in the article, I think there's about 10 teams overall that can win the national championship, and somebody has to be on the losing end of that, and I think that's one of the negatives of this field is a couple of the small guys that should have been there, they don't get in.
So the SEC breaks their record from last year with 11. They get 13 in now. What's this? This is a great idea you have. Share your idea with the audience of what you want a book to put up from a prop standpoint.
Paulie, I would love a book to post a derivative market of the NCAA baseball tournament and make a total 4.5 SEC teams to be in the College World Series, to be one of the 8 teams in Omaha. I think you're going to look at the 4 that were there last year and say, wow, this year you might even get 6 teams in there. That's how dominant it is. So I'd love to see a book. Give me that total, 4.5 over under. SEC teams, I'm taking the over with a big smile on my face.
Okay, well then give us like the top 3 or 4 then that you're absolutely convinced that will make it out of the SEC.
Yeah, Mitch, I'm going to tie it back to the college basketball tournament, which we're more familiar with. Think about when Selection Sunday came out. We said, I can see 4 number 1 teams making it to the Final Four, and obviously that happened. Of the teams to go to Omaha, it's going to be very difficult for Arkansas not to make it. for Vanderbilt not to make it, for Auburn not to make it. Those three teams in particular, I think, get a great movement into Omaha. LSU, which I like, and I write about them in the article. I liked them in the preseason. I still like them now. You get them about plus 650. Only issue with their regional is Dallas Baptist is in there, and they're a live dog. Dallas Baptist is a live dog. Ultimately, the Baton Rouge regional will go to the Clemson regional for the super regional winner going on to Omaha. And I do think Baton Rouge, in this case, Louisiana State, can beat Clemson and get to Omaha. So, as I said, give me 6 teams of the SEC in the field of 8. I think it's a good chance of happening.
Can the ACC make a strong push like they did last year?
A push, I don't necessarily know a strong push total, but UNC, Paulie, is the top team on the odds board outside the SEC, and they're around that 8.5, 9-1 area. UNC is a very good team. They have 2 great pitchers. They have Jake Knapp and Jason DeCaro, 2 very good pitchers. They have a great catcher, one of the best catchers in the country, Luke Stevenson. So I do think they can get to Omaha. The Chapel Hill winner will play the Eugene winner, and that's Oregon. I also like Oregon. Mm-hmm. Oregon is one of those longer shot teams I like. But, yeah, going back to the question, Paulie, is it the ACC? I think it's more about how far can UNC or Florida State take the ACC.
Okay. Well, is there a team on the futures board, right, to win the entire thing worth betting, in your opinion, then, that would not be from the SEC?
Geez, not from the SEC, I'm going to go with Oregon in that 18-1 range. I also like Oregon State. I think they're one of the more interesting teams. I'm very surprised, Mitch. They are 40-1 right now. They are the 8th national seed. That means if they do make it to a super regional, they're going to host. So I think they're 40-1
yes,
because we just don't hear about an independent team in today's college athletics. This team is legitimate. I'm a big fan of Oregon State, and what they're able to do with a shortstop like Arquette is they can really hit their good defensive team. So outside of those power conferences, I like Oregon with a chance, but Oregon State 40-1, multiple ways to monetize that ticket.
Okay. What else do you have other than like maybe a future ticket to win the whole thing? Best bets that you would consider at this point?
So one of the ways I look at it here, and I put it in the article, is why not look at a futures ticket on Florida State at 35-1 or Oregon State at 40-1. Those 2 teams, pretty high odds, are going to play each other. Theoretically, they're going to play each other in the super regional with the winner going on to Omaha. So I think if you get a ticket on either Florida State or Oregon State right now, you're guaranteeing yourself a pretty high odds ticket in the field of Omaha. So I kind of like doing it that way and maybe moving forward. And one of the keys to getting a ticket like a 40-1 on Oregon State is there's multiple ways to monetize during this tournament. You get the best of 3 in the super regional, you get the double elimination format in the College World Series, and then there's a championship series. So it's good. You don't have to just continually bet against a long shot ticket, that there are different steps in the college baseball tournament, and I like that from a monetization standpoint.
All right, give us some of the players. You also wrote about this. Story is up at vsin.com. Some of the players that we have to watch that are going to be playing in this tournament.
And if you look at it, I think a lot of people, Mitch, are going to watch this tournament because they're also Major League Baseball fans, and they want to see who's going to be playing in the Major League soon. So let's start out with Florida State. What a great combo they have on the mound and at the plate. Jamie Arnold, 6'1" lefty, could be this year's top college arm taken in the upcoming draft. Really good pitcher. Possibly could lead Florida State to Omaha. And then at the plate, it's Alex Lodis, a very good power hitter that's almost near 400. So Florida State has a great combination. And another combination I want you to keep an eye on is LSU with 2 very good pitchers. They basically have 2-1 starting for them. Cade Anderson, another top option in the draft, and Anthony Iacin, a right-hander, just two really good pitchers. Why I like LSU is you can run those two guys out there, and you're probably giving yourself a chance to win back-to-back games. Those are the two guys I like. And if we go a little bit off the radar, let's look at a player who's not in the power conferences. J.B. Middleton is a pitcher for Southern Miss. Right-hander, very likely could be a first-round pick. What a fantastic record he had this year, 10-1 in 15 starts. So he's legitimate. He is a major league arm playing for Southern Miss, and the Golden Eagles are a good team to talk about in terms of this tournament. They are always one of those groups outside the Power Four that we expect to go to Omaha. So they have a good chance with J.B. Middleton pitching for them.
Aaron, that was excellent information, dynamite analysis as always. Thank you for the time and good luck with the bets. We'll be in touch, okay?
Thanks, guys. Good luck to you.
There you go. Follow Aaron on X. He's at Pub Relations Prof. And, again, two different stories up today at vsin.com talking about best bets, futures, players to look at in College World Series. By the way, we're going to be going there.
Damn right. That's why we'll be in touch. The 12th through the 14th, we're live from Rocco's in Omaha and hanging out with Money Moves and doing our show. Normal spot Thursday, Friday, and then a special show Saturday, which is
9 to noon there.
9 to noon there.
So if you're going to be,
yes,
if you're there in Omaha, a fan of one of these teams, whatever the case might be, we're going to be doing 3 to 6 in the afternoon local time. That's the regular slot that we do here. And then the show on Saturday morning will be 9 until noon. So bucket list for many, many people. And it's going to be a lot of fun when we're there. Doing it from Rocco's, like you said.
Did you see that lunatic at the Pacer game dressed up as a racer in the front row?
Yeah.
What was he doing? He's holding the helmet during the whole game. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, I mean, he really committed to the bit with it being an Indy 500 weekend.
Oh my God!
On the same day as the basketball game, I guess. How about this? A horse named Follow the Money just cashed.
Oh, really?
At the number 7 at Horseshoe in Indy.
There you go.
Very good. And Nick Martinez, third time through the order. Royals just scored 2 runs off of him.
Good job. Smarter bets start with VSiN Pro. Now's the time to join. Lock it in. 14 months, less than 50 cents a day. Promo code PRO. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The morning email from Bill 80. The betting splits from DK and Circa. The dog videos. The bullpen numbers and trends from Mackinnon. And get ready for the NFL betting guide as well. It ends May 31st. Don't miss out. vsin.com/subscribe. Promo code PRO. Sign up now. vsin.com/subscribe.
So the Royals to score more than 1.5 runs in that inning, it was plus 350 in that range. To score 1 run, they were about plus 115, maybe a little bit higher than that. And Perez with a 2-run shot. Sac fly, 6-3 right now, end of the 7th. Cincinnati leading. The thing was there, Nick Martinez, third time through the order. He was brilliant for the first 6 innings, but his ERA is higher than 10 on the year, the third time through.
Ohtani, bye-bye. Ohtani let off the game with a home run.
Did he go yard?
Yeah.
Second straight game with a leadoff home run, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hit Game 4. Timberwolves, Thunder. Game coming up next. A lot to look at. A lot of player props to consider for tonight, next here on VSiN.